Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one is entitled Planet X and Worldwide Severe Thunderstorms and Flooding. Now the Earth is experiencing a worldwide increase in storm system severity, leading to severe flooding as indicated by these images here. And you can see this one is from Israel. You can see cars floating in large amounts of water, obviously a flooded region. You can see water flowing past buildings here. This one is in Germany and this one is from France. Now, this is a likely consequence of the effect of the Planet X system of stellar cores on the Earth. These objects draw energy from their host objects, which may be a star or planet, and cause its gravitational influence to drop, and also cause severe changes in its atmosphere. And here are some more images of flooding. This one is in Scotland. As you can see, it looks like large amounts of hail just flowing down a street. And here we see flooding and a large amount of hail on top. This is Serbia. And this is Austria. You've seen some bales just floating downstream in this huge amount of water. And this one I think is, yes, from Mexico, and this is Lebanon. As you can see, it's a worldwide phenomena. And these have all occurred between June 11th and June 13th, 2018. Now, the Earth, like the Sun, appears to be hosting several members of the Planet X system or stellar cores. And you may look at Article 243 entitled Earth hosting at least 3 Planet X system objects for the evidence for that. These objects absorb the Earth's gravitational energy and thus slowly reduce the Earth's gravitational energy. This also has the effect of increasing the rate of energy generation in the Earth's core. In other words, the radioactive decay rate, which is the mechanism through which all stars and planets generate energy, increases, so that more energy or heat flows through all the Earth's layers. This increase in heat flow leads to a temperature increase in all layers above the core, so that the Earth's mantle, surface, and atmosphere experience a temperature increase. And you may look at Article 240 entitled Planet X System Effect on Radioactive Decay Rate and Heating of Planets for more details. And here is one of the stellar cores that appears to be hosted by the Earth. So this one touches the Earth's atmosphere or comes into it. These objects, so I've written in other objects, in other articles, make contact and actually are able to come into the Earth's atmosphere, just like they go into the Sun's atmosphere, that is the corona. And this one, as you can see, was not moving with respect to the Earth. It remained in the same position, and these objects do the same thing in the Sun. They are able to make a connection and thus become a part of the host body and thus rotate with it. Now, because they are drawing energy from the Earth, this is illustrated here. This would be the gravitational energy, which is inside all of the Earth's particles. But as this energy is drawn away from the Earth, the core, where this energy is generated through radioactive decay, increases that release of energy. And that means that the radioactive decay rate increases in the core. So more energy flows outwards and thus flows through all the layers, which means that all the layers experience an energy increase as more energy flows out through the particles in the different layers. And this means that all the layers will experience a temperature increase, including the atmosphere, the surface, the mantle, all the layers experience a temperature increase, and the temperature increase is related to how particles move or vibrate. The temperature increase means they will vibrate faster, in other words, have a higher kinetic energy. Now, the layer which is most susceptible to heat increases is the Earth's oceans, as these will be heated by the direct heat flow from the core and will also be heated due to the numerous volcanic eruptions which are likely to occur at the bottom of the ocean. These result from the increased heat in the liquid outer core, causing the magma in that layer to expand and seek an outlet to the surface. In addition, as the Earth's gravitational influence drops as a result of losing energy, in other words, gravitational energy, to the stellar cores, the Earth expands and the solid layers start to break, thus providing more channels through which magma from the Earth's interior may find a way to the surface. Hot magma flowing into the ocean from volcanoes on the ocean's floor will cause the Earth's oceans to heat up dramatically. This will in turn greatly change the Earth's climate by increasing cloud formation rate and thus greatly increasing the severity of any storm system. In addition, the Earth's ionosphere will be experiencing an energy increase as well, which will have a dramatic effect in thunderstorm creation. Thunderstorms are electrical in nature and driven by the electrical charge available in the ionosphere. The result will be increased severity in all storm systems, with much more rain falling and a great increase in lightning activity associated to each storm. And the fact that storm systems are electrical in nature is illustrated here. Weather on Earth is driven by water. Water molecules form a dipole, which is, we can see here, it's oxygen, one oxygen atom and two hydrogen atoms. This forms the positive side of the molecule and the oxygen the negative side. So it forms a dipole and will thus respond to electrical currents, and it will create currents as well and fields. So if we have an ionospheric current, we will have, of course, a magnetic field associated with it. And if it flows in a certain direction, and this means it will flow in a direction that causes dipoles to spiral upwards from the surface through the atmosphere towards the ionosphere. This causes a low pressure system. In other words, you will have a low pressure here because water will be flowing upwards. And as water flows upwards, what we get is condensation occurring, cloud formation, and the higher the more severe the low pressure, and the more severe the difference between a high pressure region and a low pressure region, the greater this cloud formation process will be. So then you will have more water inside clouds, which when reaching the right size will be released and fall down as greatly increased rain amounts. So torrential rain will result. And this illustrates, therefore, how this mechanism works. Now, one of the ways we can know that the Planet X system of stellar cores is affecting the Earth and have thus made Earth their host is through the unprecedented ocean recession events that have been occurring all over the world. These events show that the Earth's gravitational field has been affected. A difference in ocean levels is usually caused by the tidal effect of a massive object close to the Earth. The object that normally has the largest effect on tides is the Moon, with the Sun coming second. But an increase in the difference in ocean levels can only be attributed to the gravitational influence of another object other than the Moon and Sun on the Earth. So here we see some of the evidence that we have that an object other than the moon and the sun are exerting a tidal or a differential, a gravitational effect, which is due to a small gravitational force, but exerted by an object that is very close to the Earth, so that there is a huge difference between the gravitational effect right underneath the object and the gravitational effect much further away. This is called a tidal effect, and a tidal effect must be what causes this unprecedented low tide that occurred on August 11, 2017. And since then, this has occurred all over the world, these ocean recession events that can only be due to very extremely low tides. So in addition to affecting Earth's gravity through absorbing its gravitational energy, stellar cores also affected locally by simply having a tidal effect on the oceans and the atmosphere. And you may look at Article 227 entitled Stellar Cores Affecting Earth and Possible Connection to Volcanic Eruptions for more details on that. Now, the tidal effect on the oceans causes unusually low tides, such as the one we see here, by simply drawing the ocean upwards towards the stellar cores. In the same way, stellar cores will draw the atmosphere towards them as they would thus absorb atmospheric particles, and as a result create a low pressure and directly underneath their position, which would then lead to the formation of a severe storm in that same region. The lower the pressure created in the Earth's atmosphere, the more water can be collected inside clouds, which will then cause an unusual amount of rain. This is illustrated by this image here, and what we would have then is a stellar core which exerts a weak but tidal gravitational force on the ocean and the atmosphere. And this causes a column of air to rise towards the stellar core. The stellar core will be drawing atoms and molecules from the atmosphere. It will create its own atmosphere or coma. And these would be ionized and would be absorbing ions. And ions and electrons would be combining. So you would get the same thing that occurs with comets. It would create a coma around the object, and it would be emitting light. So, but what we then have is this low pressure system that develops right underneath the stellar core. So as the stellar core moves across the surface of the Earth, it would take this storm system with it. And you may look at Article 188 entitled What is Causing the Ocean to Recede All Over the World for more details on that. And of course, it draws the ocean upwards as well, which would then create an extreme low tide at some coastline adjacent to the region where the ocean is piling up as a result of the presence of the stellar core in that region. In this way, stellar cores hosted by the Earth are likely to produce severe thunderstorms in the atmosphere in a region directly beneath them. Since they also emit light in various colors not emitted by the sun, such as magenta and burnt orange, those thunderstorms which can be directly attributed to a stellar core being overhead will most likely make the sky adjacent to these storm clouds glow in a magenta, pink, or burnt orange color. And here we see this magenta colored sky, which of course cannot be produced as a result of the sun. I've written many times about this, and that is because magenta is a combination of blue and red. And at sunset, the sky may look red because the atmosphere is removing all the blue and all the green coming directly from sunlight. But you cannot then have a blue and red combined. The blue would have been removed long ago from sunlight or light coming directly from the sun. But magenta or pink colors we see here is a combination of blue and red. So the blue could not have been removed by the atmosphere. And this means that it cannot be coming from the sun. It has to be coming from another object that is illuminating this part of the atmosphere. And this has to be a stellar core that is emitting this color of light.